an election edition of the Yo What's Up podcast with my boy High Yellow. I'm straight black, and we're here to talk about how the Democrats lost not only the election, the Senate, and Congress all in one election. Here on Yo
What's What's up?
Bobby, how these damn Democrats lose everything? I mean, what is going on in this country that there was such a resounding say no? Some people are saying it's the middle finger to the establishment of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I think the Democratic Party failed. He had $1 billion purse, and you cannot beat Donald Trump with $1 billion. I don't care if he had 2 months left. Bottom line is that the campaign manager or whoever she hired to get her to that point of victory failed dramatically. And I was listening to TYT, Roland Martin, all the independent.
Yeah.
They were complaining that they were not spending any money, along the Black community. They were not spending money really getting out there and connecting.
Well, from what I heard is they try to do this ground game thing, the same thing that Obama had going where they're doing door knockers and trying to do internet ads, but it didn't work for her because people felt she wasn't authentic. She ran one message in Michigan, and then she ran the whole opposite message in the state over. One message was pro-Israel, and the other message was pro-Hamas. Don't you think that people can look up on the internet and see both? And so what the people from the Trump campaign did is they said, well, here, look, she's saying one thing here in your state, and then she's saying something totally, entirely different in the other state. So who is she? What's her message? And it lended credence to the fact that people were saying that no matter what audience she was in front of, that's who she played to. So she didn't have a solid message that was consistent. It was like, whoever's in front of me, I'm going to tell them whatever I think that I have to get their vote. And in a big election, when you have the internet, now people can see what you're saying.
Well, look, when she came out, I have to say one thing. She didn't have a lot of time.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that. I thought knocking on doors and doing grassroots things are good, but you're a little bit late to the game with that. And she was a little bit late to the whole process, and that is failure on the Democratic Party side too, to wait this long to make a change and to bring people up. So I'm not going to put everything on Kamala on this. I'm looking at more of the Democratic National Party and national, the elite in the Democratic Party. They are.
So when
pretty
you say elite, we're talking about Obama, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer,
I'm talking about the
those
legacy,
people.
the legacy, right? And the bottom line is that you waited way too long to pull Biden out of the way. Number one. Number two, you let Biden rerun when you knew that he was losing the bill. And number three, keep in mind, Kamala did get a boost. The point is, how did she lose that boost? And I think she lost that boost because she failed to really connect and talk about how she's going to fix the country, how she's going to move things forward, and overall address a lot of the issues.
I think that's a good point. And the main thing is she had trouble connecting with people because they felt that she was phony and fake. That's what the biggest complaint about her was, is that they didn't feel that she was authentic. Like it was too scripted. And then I heard from somebody today, and I was laughing and trolling people on the internet because it was fun to do. But they were saying, what do you mean Trump has the same thing. He's not authentic. He's saying stump speeches. And then I pointed out, Trump would speak for 3 hours, no teleprompter, off the top of his head. He did interviews with Joe Rogan, 3 hours. He sat there. They talked about all kinds of issues. And people feel a connection, regardless of what you think about the man. People feel that he's authentic. Like that's him. Who he is, who you see on TV, that's who he is. And what Kamala, they didn't get that. Like they feel that fakeness, that everything was scripted. Everything had to be down to a T. I have to study to go on a television show that's only 30 minutes and they're my friends. So they're not going to ask me any tough questions. So I still don't even understand, how was she going to get out the wars? We never talked about that. And they were up there pumping up Liz Cheney. Wait, you talking about pumping up what? For the Democratic Party?
Hey, that's something else.
What?
That's something, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, you got Cheney's endorsement, but you don't give them a spotlight, okay? You basically lost a lot of Democrats because of that, because you look like them called to establishment. So for you, yeah, you got the Cheney endorsement, fine. You put that to the side and let that happen at the polls. You don't put them on full stage. And after the entire Democratic Party had no love for the Cheneys at all.
No, I mean, when you think of some of the most hated Republicans ever in our lifetime, Dick Cheney's face comes up. Nobody who was a Democrat could stand that man.
No, or trust him. So by him saying don't vote for Trump, it might have made some Democrats saying, I don't trust Cheney. I never trust Cheney. So maybe there's something that Cheney knows about him. I don't know. So you left a lot of suspicion by giving the Cheney family too much credit and rolling around and paying money for having commercials with Cheney.
That was a huge mistake. Huge.
I thought it was a mistake.
Not only that, but I saw Liz Cheney go on The View, and you had Whoopi Goldberg saying, oh, you should be running for something. They should make you like a AG, the attorney general. Stuff. And I'm like, wait, you're talking to a Cheney and you're saying that she is a noble person? These are the people that got us in the Iran and Iraq war when we didn't have to be because they had weapons of mass destruction and they didn't? And you killed millions of people for no reason? And we're talking about, you're going to prop those people up and say, these are the people that have my back?
Well,
What?
Look, I have to give her credit. She went through the impeachment, the case, and she had a chance to turncoat like every other Republican did when Donald Trump yelled, they bowed down, kissed his fingers. So I do have to give her credit that she did try to stand by her morals, and say this is not right. What he's done was not right. January 6th was not right, etc. So I'm going to give her credit. But, getting back to the Democratic Party, you do not promote that family in front of especially the new young generation growing up with these guys and saw how dangerous they are and how much of liars they are. So, which lie are they going to believe, Trump or Cheney? And you, as a Democrat, trying to roll it up, you got $1 billion purse and you're going to spend money on Cheney?
So not only that, but after the convention and after the debate, she had a whirlwind. After that debate, I thought she won the debate. I thought Trump did well, but I thought she was a better debater on that night.
Oh, yeah.
She was better on that night.
She beat him.
Okay? Now, what she should have done, if I was in control of that campaign, I would have taken the best talking points from that debate, and that's all I would have talked about. And then I would have expanded on those points. But what she did is go back to, I'm a middle class, I come from a middle class family. We're going to do an opportunity economy. Okay, what's an opportunity? Every economy is an opportunity. So what is an opportunity economy? Do you know? What did she ever explain what that was?
It would have been good but she did talk about giving the small business person a $50,000 credit,
Okay.
getting them ready, for to open up a business or
And
to
then
grow
where
the
would that money
business, you know.
come from? Would
And
that come from higher taxes?
of course,
Or?
it's going to come from higher. It's going to come from higher taxes, you know,
So there you do.
and scenarios. So no, there's no doubt about that. I think overall, I think she had this momentum, right, when she came out. And then when she should have took that momentum and hit all the channels and all the circuits and not be afraid
Not
to
be
confront.
afraid.
Don't be afraid to confront. And that's what I'm saying. One thing about Kamala, and when we talked about her earlier, she is a chess player. And I think that she relied because it was such a short window for this whole national campaign.
Right.
She put too much trust in some of these campaign managers that have a bad track record already, in my opinion.
Not only that, but what I thought there was a lot of fumbles that I saw, a lot. But the main one was you were scared to go on and talk to the opposition's news channel. You were scared to go on Fox. You talked to that one guy on
No,
Fox.
talked to him.
She talked to one guy on Fox, but it was only for like, I think it was 40 minutes, and then they made it down to 30, and then it ended up being 22. So she was scared to sit with somebody, not only answer tough questions that weren't scripted, that they didn't give to the guy like, hey, you can only ask these questions. You can't go off and ask these questions. When you're sitting against the leader of China, the leader of North Korea, the leader of Russia, there's no script.
Well,
There's no script.
There's no script, but in my opinion, I would have rather had her sitting at the table than Trump. That's my personal.
You're
thing.
kidding, right?
And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding because
Wait, you're kidding.
because Trump, I don't trust Trump, and I don't trust what kind of deal he's going to do with the Russians
Wait,
or with some of these other people. His track record is not the greatest at all.
what?
Yeah, it's not.
Was there any wars when Trump was president, Bob?
I think there was a war that was ending. Afghanistan, right?
Do we have wars going on under Trump?
There was no new war. There
Okay.
was one ending.
All right.
Okay. America has been built on wars. We've had lots of wars, and we continue,
We got two wars right now.
And we had 2 wars. We got proxy wars.
Right.
We got, a lot of other things going on.
Here's another thing
situation.
that hurt them. You had the hurricanes going on in North Carolina. They said that they were giving your residents $700, and I think it was $37. And I found out that it wasn't just the government gives it to you. It was a loan. Just a couple days before that, what did they do? They went and gave hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine. Hundreds of millions.
Well, they've been giving away too much. And that's a good point. I think the American people are getting sick and tired of wars. They're suffering at home. We're giving money out to other countries. We're giving money out to all sorts of people that are not Americans.
That's the key.
That's what's killing people. They're like,
That's
hold
the
on, time
key.
out.
Yeah.
You're feeding everybody else. You paying everybody else, but I'm the one starving here. I got to deal with this already,
I'm the one
And-
paying the taxes.
and
You're
I'm paying
taking
the
my
taxes.
tax money and giving it to the people that don't live in this country. But when we need something, you don't want to give it to us. It's our money.
I think there was some anger. There's
So-
definitely some anger.
So just off of that point alone, let's not even get into the other points. Let's just stick on this point. If you're giving millions and billions of dollars overseas to places that, let's be honest, the normal American could care less about Ukraine. Like, you're not going to beat Russia. That little small country's not going to do it. You thought you were going to exhaust everything, the resources, and try to make it a long war. Once you gave them the oil money,
Yeah.
it's a wrap.
But Ukraine said, don't judge the size of the dog. It's the fight in the dog. And Ukraine proved that they have a stronger will to win.
But overall,
Point is-
you know they weren't going to.
But the point is that, Russia strategically did something that a lot of people think is very, foul and cruel. but war is foul and cruel. They took all their prisoners out, and kind of threw them all in the front, where the buff, the kind of wear them down. Yeah, they used their real soldier. They just had a whole bunch of prisoners and so forth, and had the second rank. But that's another situation. I would say, look, Kamala, I want to give her, just acknowledgement that she was given a short window, and she tried to do the best that she can. I don't think she had the right team.
I think she had a bad team.
She had a bad team.
But you're the leader of that team. So when it's all said and done, when they're around that room and they're throwing out these ideas, you should do this, you should do that. You, as already being a vice president, as already being attorney general of the state of California, as already being a senator, should have said, okay, I don't like that idea. This one's not that great. Let me see if somebody else has something to say, because that's not working. Because what she was doing was not working. Okay. And I also thought it was a huge mistake when Trump went on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is the biggest podcaster in the world. You can reach the most amount of people right there. She went on Club Shay Shay, but that's not, all due respect, that's a great podcast, but that's nothing in comparison to Joe Rogan. And not only did also the team that Trump put together, he had Elon Musk, he had that guy Vivek, he took RFK, who really, that's my guy. And the reason why I like RFK is because he's trying to make America healthy again. And health and wellness has always been important to me. And I know that there's 70 products, food products that they sell in America that they don't sell in Europe. There's all these additives in our food that are killing us and making us fat and overweight. You go to Europe, they don't have these foods. They don't have these additives. You can eat the same pasta in Italy. It's totally different over here. In Italy, you could eat all this food and end up losing weight. Over here, you eat the same food and you gain weight. So he's going to stop that and fix that. And I think that's super important. And he put and Tulsi Gabbard was also a Democrat. And I think, to me, out of all the women candidates, this lady, armed services, who's a congresswoman, sharp as a tack. And remember when they had the Democratic debates before, she destroyed Kamala. She's the one that made her hit the road. He put a good team together. Who's her team? You telling me her team is who? What's her team? Who are the other people that came on and she had Mark Cuban, who was a zero. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry. He was bad.
On CNBC. He did a great job. No, come on.
Did you wait?
He basically.
What about when he called he doesn't have any smart women around him?
No, he was on CNBC.
Okay.
With Joe in the morning.
Yeah.
And corrected him in regards to the tariffs that will be implemented. Yeah. And that will definitely bring higher inflation to the bottom line. Okay. Because basically most of our stuff is coming from China, whether we like it or not. You coming from China and going to Mexico coming up or coming directly. All right. And so that, he brought up a lot of good points and really shut them down. Now,
but he got killed after that though, right? Because he brought up some points that weren't true. He got fact checked on the TV as he was bringing up these points, and they were totally wrong. So he got fact checked. And then he said that Trump didn't have any smart women around him and no smart women. And that's an insult to all the Republican women and all the people that are with Trump. So you don't insult the electorate. You don't insult Americans. When you run a campaign, you don't insult anybody. You don't tell black people that
Trump
they're not
did
smart.
A lot of insulting.
What?
And he won.
But what did he? Did he insult the electorate? Did he insult Americans?
Everybody.
What did he say?
Hey, look. First of all, he said he going to speak early because he thought they was going to lose. Okay, he said because.
No, I'm talking about insulting. Who do you insult?
You talking about electric?
Who?
Himself.
The electric people. The electorate.
Well. You can name a whole bunch of people. I'm telling you, he was constantly insulting not only minorities, he was insulting women. He was calling them names. He was calling eating dogs and cats.
Okay.
He was making yeah. Oh, what do you mean okay?
Yeah.
What do
Okay.
you mean okay?
Yeah. Okay. I heard that one.
Yeah.
Eating dogs and cats. Yeah, I heard that one.
And there's more and more insults. If you were just to take all his insults, he was calling people names constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I like them. It's funny when he has like little nicknames for people. I think that's funny, but okay.
No, but you said insults.
Yeah.
Trump won with insults.
Yeah, but he didn't insult an entire nation. Like, they were insulting half the nation. Remember when Biden had that conference, or the little press conference, and he said that half of the electorate, if they followed Trump, were idiots and all that stuff?
Well, he said that, look, the comedian that he had there, and they said comedian,
Yeah, but he wasn't.
that everybody on there, on that island was church.
He did say that, but that
Okay.
was
All
the
right, and he
comedian.
didn't back it up at
But
all.
the difference is, one is a comedian saying it, the other one is the president of
They
the United
put that
States.
as a comedian. It was a ploy.
No, it
And
wasn't.
I watched.
Did you watch it?
I watched segments of.
He is a comedian. That guy who was on there is a comedian. I've seen him on Joe Rogan a million times.
Dude, anybody's not going to let him speak like that.
He's a comedian.
They know what he's going to say. He gets the script, and they share the script before you go on the stage.
They do. They do.
And there's no way someone said, "Oh,
But here's a good thing I liked about that, and I'll tell you. I did not like.
I didn't
what he-
like that
Wait,
at all.
wait. I'm going to tell you. I didn't like what the guy had to say, but what I do like is it's America, and it's free speech, and he's a comedian, so he can say that.
you know what? I bet you would have said something like that because the brother would have got his ass whooped."
That's
And
okay.
I can
You
assure you,
probably would have.
I
But
can
it's-
assure you, to this day, because the election is over,
Yeah.
he's gonna get his ass whooped. Guaranteed.
Well, I don't
For the
think
reason they're gonna play that. They're gonna play that. They're not gonna play that. He's gonna be at the wrong. He'll be at the wrong show at the wrong
Do you
time.
really think
He getting his ass whooped.
so? They're it's comedy though.
No, he's using comedy.
But he's a comedian.
No,
That's how the guy makes his living.
This was a actual election campaign rally, and to have a comedian insult a whole population like that, and to have that script given to the leadership
All right.
before he got on stage was wrong. And you know it's wrong, Chairman. Come on now.
I
Come on,
did not like what he had to say, but I respect that he's a comedian. He's trying to make people laugh. And he said, nobody even laughed at the jokes. They weren't funny. They weren't funny.
To be quite honest,
They weren't funny.
Yeah, I just mark my words. You're getting his ass whooped.
But on the other side, we had Kamala having like Lizzo and all these rappers coming out and shaking their butt. See, I don't like that. That's what I don't like. I don't like, we're going to have a rally, and I'm going to have, and it's where black people are concerned. We're in the South or whatever, and this rally is toward black women and black men. And we're going to have somebody come out and shake their ass. I don't like that. That is not appealing to me. And a lot of the people, the movie stars and rap stars and all these stars that she had out, they're all at the Diddy party. They had this meme, and they had all the people that she had, and there's like 8 of them. And all 8 of them were at the Diddy party.
Yeah, well, they just got the Jerry Epstein report that Donald Trump, he said Donald Trump is, worse than him. Okay? Jeffrey Epstein, tapes came out.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, they came out, TYT. And Donald Trump, basically has cheated on his best friend's wives, screwed his best friend's wives, has had a friend on a phone call.
I
had
don't know about that. So,
But the
I haven't
election's
heard that.
over.
Yeah,
And what I want to say is that it was a fair election.
it was.
And
But they-
democracy is what it's all about.
Right.
Trump won. Okay, he's not my favorite, but guess what? Trump, you won. And we'll see what happens. Okay.
Yeah.
And all my Trump, I have Trump friends, because I live in America, and I called them up. I said, hey, you won.
Yeah.
It was fair, and that's it. And so and I felt good telling them that because they would never do that with me. And they would say, "Oh, it was a cheated, the votes, let's count the votes." You know, they always complain.
Yeah.
Always complain.
A lot of people, like when I went on, a lot of people we went to high school with, there's a little thread and they're all talking. And I was trolling the hell out of them because they're all like upset and very emotional. And then I went in there and said, well, he won because had a bad campaign. The campaign was bad. And they're like, no, it was the best campaign. I'm like, okay, what was good about it?
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
You know, you had Michelle and Obama, supposedly they're saviors.
and they were
Um,
lecturing people.
National,
Yeah.
national audience didn't work. You had the women's, reproduction rights and all
Abortion
the
people
issues in regards to
don't work.
women's rights.
Yeah.
You would think that the white women would be behind that nationally, but I'm looking at the statistics.
What you got?
White women in the South and the Midwest and everything else said no to that. You know, so there's two. You know, we have two women that ran, Hillary and we have Campbell. Right? They both lost. Right?
But I think they both were bad candidates. If you had
and that's
a
good point.
better woman candidate, like this Tulsi Gabbard lady, I think if she got the platform and got the backing, that's a person I could get behind. And the reason why I think that she didn't win or she doesn't get the backing, because she's actually bright and actually smart and doesn't need all these controllers to tell her what to say and what to do. The reason why Hillary lost is because Hillary's a mean person. She's a nasty, mean lady.
What she did to Bernie Sanders
Yeah.
was proof. That's why a lot of people are like, and also, I don't think America's ready for a woman running to be president. I think, you
might be right.
we had all these chances. I noticed that Mexican men and black men did, basically said no when they had a chance to. And also younger people kind of picked up and voted for Trump too.
Yeah. He
So,
won the popular vote. He's the first Republican to win the popular vote since George Bush. I think it's George Bush Jr. So he won the popular vote. He won the electoral college. He won the Senate. And I think there's a couple races that they're way ahead in the Congress, but they're still full votes to count. So that's a big.
we're looking at 2025 being real.
Yeah.
2025 is going to happen. We're going to have Tim Scott representing the black people, which he really does.
Oh, no.
We got that fire represents the black people. Come on, straight black.
Oh,
Hey, listen to what we got. We got these straight suckers representing black people now. And they're going to sell us out on 2025.
They not.
In my opinion, I had to, because I live in San Francisco, straight black, I had to fix my earthquake preparedness kit. I had some old batteries and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Now I am preparing my exit preparedness kit. Because if 2025 is implemented,
we're 2025. Stop with that 2025 bullshit. Because it's not true. The guy never put it out. That is not his plan. 2025 has nothing to do with Trump.
it has
Nothing to do
Trump's
with Trump.
Trump's
No, it
all
don't.
over it.
No, it don't.
Are you kidding?
That was misinformation. That was bullshit.
Misinformation from what?
He never put it out. He never had anything to do with 2025.
He worked.
He did not.
The Heritage Club.
He did not.
With that he had his influencers.
That is not true.
Okay,
It's not
so
true.
when 2025 happens,
not
what
true.
you gonna do then?
I don't have to worry about
Because
it.
you got the Senate.
I'm not worried about it.
All
I'm not worried about
Republican.
it. I'm not worried.
What we gonna do?
I'm not worried about that.
Oh, you're not worried?
No, I'm not worried about that. Because the dude was president already. And the earth, like I say, the earth still spun. The sun came up. The moon came up. And we kept on going. The economy was better. There was no wars. So if that is what the track record is, then I'm for that track record.
And I think you bring up a point that I had to think about. You keep saying no more wars, no more.
No more war. I'm
listening.
I don't want
And I'm
wars.
listening to my best friend.
I don't
This is
want
my
wars.
best. This is my best
I
friend.
don't want wars.
So it could be also the population saying, we're done with these wars.
Yeah.
Israel is getting a little bit more aggressive with the
Yes.
Iran.
It's crazy.
And if we let the Democrats in again, it's going to get even worse. At least Trump will stop it.
Listen, I am not for any country that goes and picks on a little country and then after they made their point, keeps on bombing them. Now, what are you doing when you keep on bombing these people? You're killing women, you're killing children, you're killing dreams. They're people just like you and me. They got bad leadership. That's not their fault. They're not the ones who want to, kidnap people and all that stuff. They just want to go to school. They just want to get a job. They just want to live their lives. And always innocent people are always the ones that suffer in war.
Yeah.
And mostly it's women and children because the guys got to go out and fight. Okay. It's just wrong. And at this point, what point does Israel have to make? They made their point. Don't mess with them. Leave them alone. Okay. Now, at this point, you even destroyed the whole damn city. You've seen these pictures of the Gaza Strip, and Gaza is actually near the coast. It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, Jared Kushner put a resort on there.
It's really nice, and I understand why Israel wants to take that land because they probably want resorts, and it's really nice and plentiful. And I'm surprised that the Hamas people, they took all the money and they all live in Europe, and all the leaders do. And drive around Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Yeah, and then leaving their people, to suffer, which is bad. But then now they're fighting in Lebanon. Now they're fighting in Iraq. What's going on with that? Why all over the place? What is happening with this war?
I think you're spot on, straight flag. I think if you think about it, yes, women's rights were very important. But I think this war is really weighing heavy on a lot of people's minds to see what's happening in Israel. And they see that Israel has no guardrails and they basically going to continue to go. Now, there's more to what's in Israel than just Israel and Gaza.
Right.
The proxies is where we have to get rid of.
Mm.
And so the strategic point, should not stop. We have to continue to get rid of these proxies. I don't think that, and as an independent, I'm a registered independent now, and I'm happy. And I think most Black men out there should be independent.
Mm-hmm. Because why? Expand on that point.
Because both parties really don't have our interests anymore. And I looked at the latest numbers. They said the spending, they spend a lot of money on Texas and the Latinos and all the, which they focus mainly to try to get their vote, didn't win, and basically didn't spend that much money in the Black
Here's the thing.
and so forth. So the point is clear. The
Mm-hmm.
Latino vote is powerful and it is going to be recognized, and you have to recognize it. I get it. But Latinos are different like everybody else. You got conservative Latinos, right. You got liberal Latinos. When I looked at the numbers here, a lot of Latino women voted for Kamala, but the men strongly not. And then a Catholic background and some of the transgender stuff that the Democrats are bringing, a lot of the San Francisco and California, economy and the crime and everything that represents San Francisco and California. You try to put that on a national level.
Doesn't work.
It's not going to work.
And that's an excellent point. The coast, because the coast basically are Democrats, right? Oregon, Washington, California. Then you got New York out there on that side, and I think like Rhode Island. And then after that, everything else is pretty much, Connecticut maybe. Everything else is going to be Republican pretty much, the whole middle of the country. Way California's politics is right now, it's way too far left. You even see in the local elections where, like, I think Mayor Breed is losing by 20 or 30,000. People don't want you to go all the way to the left or all the way to the right. Most Americans are in the middle, right? And so I'm like, okay, what's middle of me? Hey, you do you, I'll do me. Government out of my business, lower taxes, and let me go on and do my life. That's what most people want. They don't want you to tell me that my daughter has to have a person who transitioned on her volleyball team because it's a women's sport. Women fought so hard to have women's sports, and now you're going to have, men who transition to play with a woman. Well, why don't they just go play with the men? And how many transition from women to men and try to play on the men's sports? Like none.
Yeah. And
None.
the one thing I love why I love San Francisco is the diversity. And also it has taken some of my conservative views and I've changed over time. But one thing I have not changed is that don't force feed families on really strong family values and cultures. Leave their kids alone.
That
Okay.
is the most
And
important
you
thing.
can't be saying that you're going to cut up kids and just because a kid has a curiosity,
Yes.
you want to put the parent out of the way and take over the kids and all that. And then you're going to let a male, compete with a woman. There's a lot of gay. So the bottom line is that the campaign manager for Trump saw that and she was brilliant to emphasize that and push that at all the different media outlets. And guess what? Kamala didn't want to answer it.
That's the thing.
She was scared to answer.
She was scared to answer it.
And
So,
being heads up and say, hey, in San Francisco, and like Obama did with the gay marriage, I changed my ways,
but the thing about gay marriage is it's a lot different from saying that two adults, consenting adults, can get married to a kid who can't vote, who can't buy alcohol, who can't go into a rated R movie, who's not even driving yet, can go and change their sex without their parents' consent. And then if the parents say no, the school, if they're in a public school, can take the kid out of the parents' home and put them into foster care or something like that. Now, I know a lot of girls who were tom girls or tomboys. They tried to play basketball with us when we were younger. They tried to play baseball, football. And then they turned out to be, stunning young women in their own right. But that doesn't mean they were wanting to be a boy.
No, they wanted to belong. They wanted to feel. And
all
that's
that
what I
is.
always believe in. This is a country that we want everyone to feel. If you're transgender, that's your life. You should have the right to be here in America. But you can't force all your rights, like you claim as your rights. If someone has strong family values and they also have kids under 18, leave people's kids alone, leave that situation alone. And the nation got more hip to California and San Francisco because Elon Musk was telling what's going on in here and what
That's
they doing. It's like,
really good.
these guys, they're wacky, and you can't trust your kids with this legislative body. And Scott Wiener just won again,
Ugh.
and he's got more and more child pedophilia type of laws he probably wants to pass that Gavin's going to, clear through. So Gavin needs to wake his ass up too, because he's thinking about presidency. This is a wake up call
to all the Democrats.
San Francisco
Yes.
Democrats.
Yes.
That is not the national message. Politics should be local. If it's a local issue, let it go local. But you go in national, you have to address that or don't even bring it up. It should be like,
the sad thing, and since
It's
you
so
brought that up,
stupid, man.
it's so stupid. And Kamala couldn't answer those questions because at the national level, what she should have said is that was a local issue. That's something that plays in or I would have said it just like this. When I was in San Francisco, these are the issues that happen. I wanted to do them because the people of San Francisco wanted it. And so I always do what the most majority of the people want to do. Now, I know nationally, this is something that most people aren't interested in. So as the will of the people, I will adhere to what the will of the people is. And so we won't be pushing anything like that. When they asked her about transitioning into the penitentiaries and all that stuff, we're not doing that. Like we did that in California because that's what the constituents wanted.
Yeah.
But nationally, they don't want that, so we're not doing that.
Exactly. I love that, Sherman. And because she does have a believable face. If she could, sit down with her, you really can't say, you know what? I do believe, I think I can trust you. Because it comes down to trust. And I
Comes down to
think
trust.
the national audience did not trust the liberal ways orchestrated and seeded, and I use the word seeded, out of San Francisco, California.
And Gavin Newsom, when he goes, so 4 years from now, they're going to have J.D. Vance run, who I like. Actually, I like
a
JD.
fraud.
Whatever. I like J.D. Vance. So they're going to have him,
Sellout.
and then they'll have Gavin, and they'll have some other Democrats go.
I hope JD's wife just cuts sex off for him for about 6 months.
Anyway, and so the Democrats are going to have to pull back and figure out what is their way forward. It's not all this other stuff. And what I always say is what they do here, not only in San Francisco, but what they do in California is they take non-issues and they make them issues. Like, you don't care about all this. None of us care about that. Know what I care about? People getting attacked on the bus, people getting attacked on the BART train, people breaking into stores and robbing small businesses and going into stores and robbing the whole place blind and nothing being done about it. People having sideshows when I'm trying to get to work on the bridge and no one stops it. And they keep doing it. There's only 2 ways on the bridge, but no one's getting arrested.
Yeah.
Those are the things that regular people that go to work, that's what we care about.
Yes. And they even got a sign by downtown Union talking about anything over $9.50, like don't steal over $9. It's crazy, telling people like, hey, make sure it's not over $950.
And thank God that 36 passed. So now that 950's gone away. Thank you.
Well, and see, that also brings to attention that a lot of people realize that this Democratic, progressive, humor, and progressive is a different terminology, so I'll just use it this way. This freedom to do whatever you want to whoever you want, that's all right. It's not law and order. And it's not what people want, some form of law and order. They don't want the wild, wild west, okay? They want some law and order, and California and San Francisco and the whole Bay Area basically showed that their leadership lacked good law and order.
When you bring up that point, that goes right into the border. And that was a big issue for a lot of people, a lot of voters, because, and I tell people this all the time, you can't call yourself a country if you don't have borders. There's no other country in the world where you and I can just go there and then all of a sudden we can vote, and then all of a sudden we can get food stamps, and then all of a sudden we can participate as we were citizens. No, you got to go through a process.
Yes.
And in other countries, they will kick you out. Because when you come in, what are you here for? Oh, I'm here for entertainment. How long are you going to be here for? Oh, 2 weeks. But you think when you scan your passport, you go to Japan, they checking. You pass your passport, they coming for you, bruh.
Yeah.
So why can we allow people who are unvetted? We don't know if they're criminals. We don't know if they're rapists. We don't know if they're murderers. We don't know if they have typhoid. We don't know if they have COVID. We don't know anything about these people. And you think that's okay?
Yeah. I think everyone has to get in line, right? I think immigration is what America's all about, but you got to get in line. You got to get the shots. You need to get the shots. That's why we got all these different diseases. We can't figure it out. And you got to get in line. You got to get the shots. And at the same time, I think we have to strengthen our borders more than just strengthen the border by putting a wall up. You have to make sure that the countries who are bringing these people up to America understand why are you so interested in remittance and all their money coming back. Let's stop that money coming back. And I can guarantee you there goes governments who will be stopping that labor leaving, okay? And we got to get more creative in enforcing ICE, letting ICE be a part of some of these local and state. So when we have these prisoners, you can't be like, sanctuary, all this stuff. No, call the ICE, you get it, and get it, and make it known so the community would know that we enforce it.
You have to enforce the laws. You can't pick and choose what laws you enforce. Here in California, there's a big fentanyl problem, and at least in San Francisco, it's mostly people from Honduras, 90% of them, and they sell drugs with impunity. They'll do it right in front of you. They don't care. Daylight, morning, night, it doesn't matter. And nothing's done about it. They arrest them, but they let them right back out. They had a guy on the BART train who slashed this old lady's throat, and I think she subsequently passed away. He had a rap sheet that was so long. The guy shouldn't have been out. They released him. I think it was Pamela Price, who just got recalled, released him. There's no way that man should have been out on the street to kill this poor lady. And this happens time and time again in a lot of democratic cities. You have to enforce the law, the rule of law.
Yes.
People want law and order because they have to
Yes.
feel safe.
Yes.
You're going to call yourself a first world nation, you have to have safety.
Yes.
That's just the bottom line of any democracy, of any country. You want to be safe. If it's not safe, people don't want to go there. And what am I paying my taxes for? That's the basic principle of paying taxes. Lights, water, safety. It's the basic.
If you want the freedoms for people to thrive, to be successful, to live without fear.
Yeah.
Okay, which the Trump campaign was built on fear. Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah.
But you got to enforce the law. You got to enforce the law because guess what? Trump will make the boogeyman come out again. But guess what? It wasn't fake this time. Trump was telling troops a little bit. Trump did that.
About what?
And that's the scary part about how dangerous the Democratic cities are.
It's true.
And
When you
if
look
looked at the votes, a lot of people who voted against also wasn't, even though the suburb women, showed Democrat changed a little bit. But guess what? We lost a lot of reliable city votes because they were living.
Because if we live here in San Francisco, and I go to LA and you go to LA a lot, these were beautiful cities. San Francisco and LA were jewels of the West Coast. And now San Francisco downtown's desolate. There's drug use. There's homeless people. Yeah, they're getting them off the street, supposedly. But I can still go right now down the block and see homeless people and encampments and all that stuff. And in LA, it's just as bad, or probably worse because there's more people in LA. But all these storefronts closed. They talk all this nonsense about small business. And I'm trying to figure out, what the hell is Gavin Newsom going to run on? When he runs for president, what has he done for California? Do we have high-speed rail from here to LA? They're always talking about, wait, listen to this. They're always talking about climate change, right? Climate change this, climate change, green. How come Gavin Newsom doesn't have a train that goes from San Francisco to LA, high-speed rail? If climate change is so bad, wouldn't you rather have people go on an electric train than drive a car or fly? If climate change is this bad.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Let's hit it. Get it.
The state of California is a fraud when it comes to this whole I'm green, we're clean, because you go to LA, the traffic is horrendous. The public transportation system is horrendous. You don't even have an express bus that take people from different counties to downtown. The train system is slow and not even reliable. You got people making $20 an hour sitting in traffic trying to get to their kids' child care, okay? You have no parking. You try to tell me, and I got to give the Bay Area credit because of Barton. LA's infrastructure for public transportation is absolutely disgraceful, and the leadership behind that should be held accountable because there's no way that you can say you're green and clean and you want all the cars off the road, but you have the middle class and low middle class who is the backbone for a lot of the services and so forth. You cannot provide them reliable, consistent, on time public transportation. LA County is a mess.
It not only is LA a total mess, because I just was down there last weekend and spent ad nauseum time on the damn freeway waiting in traffic. You know how it is down there. And I was sitting there, and there's Teslas everywhere. There's Teslas there all over the place. That's probably other than AMG wagons, that's probably the biggest thing down there, just like out here. And I'm going, if everything was so green, and they've been talking about this Green New Deal and all this stuff for probably 5 years now, it's maybe 6. Well, actually, since Biden, even before Biden, why haven't they done anything about the rail? Why isn't there a train that's high speed that can go from San Francisco to New York by now, or at least being built? They talk about this high speed rail in California. They spent $3 billion, or it's either 3 or 8. I'd have to check. 3 football fields. That's how much they built for 12, for $8 billion.
From Fresno, right?
Yeah,
Fresno.
yeah, but
Fresno.
3 is 3. It might even be 2 football fields.
Hey, they could
Come
took
on,
that
man.
money and fixed LA. They
Come
could
on,
have took that money and fixed LA, made more trains available, have electric, buses going back and forth, dropping off. And it just, Gavin sits as governor. He goes down there, parties, whatever he's doing. And you really claim you care about the middle class? And
Gavin's done a
lower
bad
class?
job. I don't care what people say. As a governor, you're the leader of the state. This is how I look at politics. But if I'm the mayor or the governor, I want it to look different than when I leave than when I got there. So meaning that if I was the mayor, there's going to be some buildings and some parks and something with my name on it that's going to beautify and make society better. So it makes it better for you to live in that city. It makes it easier, and it's something that you can do with your children and kids, and you can go, oh, that's Mayor Black. He did that. As the governor, the same thing. So if he was all into that, he should have been on this high-speed rail. That should have been his main, this is what I'm going to do. I'm bringing high-speed rail to California. And hammer that project until it's done. But when you say, name me one thing Gavin Newsom has done for the state, for you, that you've benefited from, I'll wait.
Well, let me think.
I'll wait.
Gavin has,
I'll wait.
well, I'm sure there's some things in there. I'll have to get that on the next podcast. Because one thing I don't like to do is, hey, everybody has flaws and issues, but he's been in that seat, has been a Californian, a native like us.
Yeah.
And he knows what really affects. If you're going to represent the Democratic Party, you know that the public transportation is very critical for not only the kids to get to school, but the lower income people to get around so they can work, and then not having childcare available for people. All this, you failed.
You got to
failed a lot of the Democratic Party that is the working class. You're so focused on raising money, and the Democratic Party is turned into a party of just wealthy people. Okay. And
Yes.
when you're hanging out with other wealthy people, bird and feathers flock together.
Yes.
And you're focused just mainly for them. And you're using, at the last minute, you run around and say you're doing this and that, but there's really no actual, infrastructure bills that really address the true issue, because not everyone's rich in California.
The quality of life issue is the main thing, especially for me, as we're in middle age now, and, who knows how long, 30 years maybe, hopefully, we got a good 30 years left, hopefully. We don't know. But I see the demise of the city and the state, and I'm not happy about it because things are supposed to get better as you get older, not worse. And for us, we know that we lived in the 80s, that was the best time. The 90s, that was good. But now, for our kids, it's not as safe, it's not as clean, it's definitely not as fun, and there's more rules and regulations than ever before. And the more rules and regulations you have, and Elon Musk, and I'm glad you brought that up earlier, where I wanted to circle back to Elon Musk. He was a staunch Democrat. He had a building right down here on Market Street.
Yes.
How do you run one of the smartest men on the world, one of the richest? I think he's one of the richest, if not the richest. I don't think he's the richest because I think the Saudi people are richer because they don't have to report and they're kings. And so obviously they have more money, but whatever. How do you run a guy who's a Democrat, who can help fund everything, who's smart, who's doing all these things? How do you run that guy out of your party? How stupid is that? Stupidest thing I've ever heard of. How do you run that? Let's say he's the richest guy in the world. And he's a Democrat. How do you get him to leave San Francisco and go to Texas? How do you do that? What idiot does that? He said when he was leaving, no one called him to try to keep him to stay. Gavin never called him. He said, if he would have called me and we could have done some things, made some concessions, I would have stayed. No one called me. You telling me a guy who, and you're talking about the Green New Deal. This is the guy who innovated the whole electric car industry, the whole damn industry. And he's yours. He's a Democrat. You going to run that guy off?
I was going to say the Democratic Party is not the same. It's not. It's not the same party. They catering, and TYT made a big point about that. And they said that they're catering to, the wealthy class. And the wealthy class, if you're catering that, you're missing out on a lot of other people. You're missing out on a lot of issues. And you just basically are nothing but a pandering.
If the Democrats used to be for the little guy and the Republicans were for the corporations, now it seems that the Democrats are for the corporations, and now the Republicans seem like they're the ones for the little guy. Now, I remember somebody said, and they asked, I think it was Tulsi Gabbard, or I think it was, it might have been Elon on the podcast with Joe Rogan. He said, why did you leave the Democratic Party? And he said, well, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me.
Yes.
And that's why you became an independent. And that's why after this iteration, I'm going to go and become an independent also, because I don't see myself in this party anymore.
No, it's full of lies too. Commitments, broken commitments. They got $1 billion person. Let's see what they do with it. They didn't spend all that money.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They didn't spend all that money.
You know what they're going to do with it? It's going to it's going into the trough.
Yeah.
For the next time. But that's where it's going.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not about the money. It's about the message. And the message is censorship. And it's proven that during the COVID that they had the social media companies lying for them. The government was pressuring them. And Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, yeah, they called and we did what they wanted. I mean, they are the government. And he came out and said, I'm not doing that no more. And he wanted to, distance himself. So he came out and said what they did. And to me, that is one of the more important issues also why people voted for Trump. Because Trump ain't about the censorship, because look at the shit he says. He don't care, So
I think it's more than that. I think it's,
there's a lot.
There's a lot lost the family. The Democrats used to be the blue collar, and you and your family, you came home, you worked hard, you got a good meal, you got up, you worked hard, you had your pitch and all that. The Democrats failed the family, and they continue to take rights away from parents. And that's why a lot of families are moving out of California, or they're just, it costs a lot. They're taking rights away from family, putting kids in systems, taxing us to death, telling us what to do, telling us how we should act, and then focusing on, like, a half of a percentage of a group, and spending all that time and all that money and focus on that group without focusing on really building the core of what America is, a family, and educating our kids and teaching them right.
It's almost like Democrats are anti-family.
Well, they're anti-family. There's no doubt. At this point, they're anti-family.
And the reason
They've said that. They're anti-family.
and this is here's the weird juxtaposition as we get into our last 15 minutes here. On one hand, you want to say that you are the party of democracy. You want to save democracy, right? That's what they kept saying. Trump's going to kill democracy. He's going to kill it. He's going to be Trump,
You're right.
he's a Hitler. He's a dictator. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, he is.
No, so they said all that, but in the meantime, while they were saying that, they were censoring people. They told you that if you didn't get a shot, you would lose your job. They told you that if you got that shot, you couldn't spread it and you couldn't get it. All that shit was false, and they knew it. You're talking about body autonomy and my rights, my body, but then they're telling you that's not your right, your body, because they made you get a shot. And they made you get an ID to prove that you had that shot, so you couldn't go to a restaurant without showing that ID, but yet now they passed a law in California that you could go vote without an ID. No, wait, come on, man. I mean, I wasn't born yesterday or the day before. I do have a college degree. How much fucking sense is that?
And and now with a lot of new young kids, they're on the text so much. There was an issue in regards to the signature that was used on their driver's license, and it hadn't matched because some of the people were going into the polls. This was in Georgia, and trying to vote, but they're saying that their signature didn't match. And so they, when they did mail-in ballot, they were rejected because their signatures didn't match.
How many states require no ID? Guess what those states are? They're all Democratic states.
Yes.
Now, the thing I don't like, and I'm gonna end my little part, and then you can get your little part in about this, is why are you telling me that it's black people that don't have ID? That's why we don't want no ID, or minorities and poor people. You need an ID for the bank to have a checking account. You need an ID to drive a car. You need an ID to have your medicine for your Social Security. You need an ID for Medicare and Medicaid. You need ID for everything else. You need ID to fly. You need an ID if you're going to take a train. You're going to need an ID if you take a trip on a bus.
The cash your free check, you need an ID.
You need an ID when the cops stop you. And you don't tell me that I don't need an ID when I fucking vote?
Look,
And you're going to tell me this is the most important election in the fucking history of elections, but I don't need an ID?
Oh, man. The funny part
People
about
are
it.
stupid.
Yeah, the funny part about it, even if you don't have a bank account, we're going to say, a lot of the blacks don't have bank accounts. You need an ID to cash that government check. And you need an ID.
That's how ridiculous this stuff is.
So I think the Democrat Party chased the families away, They're not the party that I used to grow up with. That's why I'm proud independent. I recommend independence.
How do we fix it? Now, we've rambled for an hour and 4 minutes.
How we fix it? We get rid of all.
How do we fix it?
They all need to be voted out. They all need to be voted out. And the point is, this new generation we'll see what happens. This younger generation, I'm looking at the numbers. Younger generation was kind of confused, was almost 50-50, but a lot of the South, the Midwest, and the younger generation vote Republican. So that's the next class that's coming in. And so you cannot be force feeding a population things that they're not used to and not comfortable with.
And
Slow your roll.
and not only that, but you can't come out as the old Democratic leadership, Obama and Michelle Obama and all these other
I think they could.
no,
I like
no.
this speech,
What,
but
what,
it didn't
what I
work.
didn't like is that they came out and said, you gotta vote for her because if you're black, you gotta vote. Like,
That's not good.
I don't like. Don't tell me who
I'd vote
don't
for
tell me who I'm
Yeah.
voting for.
And they love to use black on everything, like any type of issue. Like, oh, well, we need no ID because of blacks. No, stop using
Yes.
for all okay, everybody likes to use the back of the black, but then at the same time like to push us out. It's just straight bullshit.
And I'm tired
So,
of that. I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired of
I'm
that.
tired of being sick and tired of it.
Yes. Not only I'm tired of you using black people as your troop, like, oh, that's why we did it because of them. No, I'm
No.
tired of that. It's time for us to be America. Stop talking about black and Hispanic and man, this is America. Okay? We all want the same thing. We want good schools. We want clean air and water. We want to be able to take our kids on vacation. We want to have a better life for our children than we had for ourselves. And we want to be safe when we go to the store. And we want to be able to make sure things are affordable so we can get ahead and live the American dream. Now, that's it. That's the core right there. Anything outside of that, you're tripping.
Well, we got a lot of work to do there because a lot of the cultures that are coming in, they don't really adapt and really hold on to what it is to be American. They just come here and it's all a money grab and they want to leave. That's why a lot of people are getting upset because seeing people in those other countries, you have big houses all here, just coming making this money and forgetting about the American, contribution. But at the same time, we also understand that with this diversity, it makes us stronger, it makes us better than any other country. But at the same time, we are losing on the educational side. So India and all this, we're going to have, a situation where when everyone is leaving the country, the brains, and we're going to be in a situation where our next generation that's uneducated is going to be back to robbing, stealing, and doing things to make a living. And we don't have vocational training. We don't get in and really help ROTC. A lot of things we need to bring back.
I'm going to
to
fix it
America.
right here. If I'm the Democratic Brain Trust, and I've tried to make suggestions, and no one listens to me, they
No,
should.
they don't like they call us too conservative.
Yeah, we're too conservative, but that's okay. How am I going to fix it? Get to the core issues. All the periphery, like you pointed out, why are you talking about 1% of 1% of the population all the time? Like the transgender stuff. 1% of 1% of population. Why is that the banner that you're leading? Okay, when you have all these other people, if 1% of what, that means you're ignoring 99.9% of the other people.
The problems and solutions.
Like, well, how hard is this? And this is what, as a Catholic, this is what, our priests and a lot of people and the brothers at the church say, is the Democrats are being the party of the devil. And they say this because why do they preach all these non-family values? Why are they talking about transgenderism, which is a symbol for, the Baphomet and the devil? Why are they talking about abortion all the time, which is killing life? And people can still, if they need to get an abortion, they can do that. But why aren't we talking about contraceptive and stopping people from having unwanted babies? Why are we saying that abortion is a way that they can basically have contraception? Why aren't we talking about these other issues and making sure that our population are knowledgeable about these things so they won't get STDs and get unwanted pregnancies? We shouldn't be pushing abortion as a solution. Okay. I'm pro-life. I believe,
Likewise.
okay, now if there's other cases that, happen with a woman, I believe that her choice, because I'm not a woman.
Correct.
But if you had consensual sex and now you want to have an abortion, that's I have a problem with that. If you got raped or something like that, that's a whole nother ballgame, and you have to make that decision for yourself. I don't believe that I should be making that decision for you. But when you promote abortion like that, and you're saying that we don't have enough people in the populations, it's a weird juxtaposition. On one hand, you're saying we don't have enough people for jobs. That's why we have to bring in immigrants. But we don't have enough people because you're always promoting abortion, which is killing life. So that's why you don't have enough people, because you want people to abort their babies. So it's a weird. And why are we always talking about killing and death, killing and death, killing and death? Let's talk about life. Let's talk about quality of life. Let's talk about living our lives the best that we can and doing things for our population so they can live the American dream. That's what we should be talking
That's
about.
all valid points, but in my opinion, and straight black is we live in America that's diverse, and we want all cultures, we want all ideas and so forth at the adult age. And like I said, I think the Democratic Party has stripped the family apart and really stopped focusing on what's best for a family to survive and get better. And then when it comes to transgender, and we go into space looking for aliens and all that, right? So everything is different. I think that's that person's life. If he wants to be transgender, whatever, but leave my kids alone. Leave the certain kids alone. Okay, give on the pro-life, I'm pro-life, but also I think a woman has right, because I think every spiritual connection has a different domination. And I've seen it from Catholics, Jehovah's Witness, to Baptists, everything else. So if your spiritual connection is real and you feel that whatever you're about to do or not do, you're going to have to answer to that, right? And I think that, as a free country, we should give that person the right to make their own choices.
I also feel that we've gotten away from God in the Democratic Party. Why are we pushing away from God? I remember Kamala was talking about this one thing, and a person from the audience shouted out, like, praise God or something like that. And she said, "Oh, that rallies down the block."
No, that's from that black preacher. I saw that.
You
shit.
saw that, right?
Yeah, but she told the other guy, and there was two guys yelling out, and
Okay.
basically wanted to correct it. But
But she should have done that.
But Kamala goes to church.
Yeah, but she shouldn't have done that.
She's been a part of church.
I know. She goes Third
But
Baptist. I
Trump
understand.
don't go to church.
Okay, but
Trump has never even stepped in a church.
for what I'm saying.
Hold on, time out.
Okay. What do you mean he's never
Trump-
stepped in this?
No,
church?
Trump has never stepped in a church.
Oh, he stepped in it when he was the president.
Guess what? He talks all this crap about he's with the church and God.
Okay.
He doesn't study the Bible.
Okay.
Never stepped in the Bible.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
What do you mean that's okay?
No, that's okay, because there's a lot of people.
You can't say that you all for the church vote and everything else, and you never even stepped in
but
church.
what I'm
You
saying-
you never even prayed before.
Okay, but what I'm saying on that point is he's not promoting things of the devil.
What do you mean? I promote?
He's not promoting abortion.
He used to be for abortion when he was a Democrat.
He was a Democrat longer than he was a Republican.
York.
I'll tell you that.
New York, exactly.
He was a Democrat way longer than he was a Republican.
And he was having a lot of young girls with
Yeah.
him and Jeffrey Epstein. So
Okay.
look,
We don't know that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
A lot of people drinking some Kool-Aid.
The main point is that to fix the Democratic Party, you need to go back to the core values of what the party is about.
Yes,
That's my
middle
thing.
class,
Middle-
working class,
working class, middle class,
family.
and uplifting that. That's
Right.
it. Don't stay. All that other stuff is peripheral. Stay with the core values and deal with that, and hammer those points home, and make the party come together and tell everybody, stop talking about all this other stuff. Stop worrying about all this stuff.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is stick to the core values of the middle class, raising up the middle class and poor people. And that's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And I'm glad you brought this up because it was a situation where they were blaming Biden for all the inflation and everything else, and they never wanted to address it. They go, "Oh yes, we got inflation." I had a good comeback for them on that. I said, "Listen, she was using businesses gouging people. All she had to do is say, no, it's not inflation. What they're doing is ripping you off. They're giving you orange juice that used to be 64 fluid ounces. Now it's 58 fluid ounces, and they jacked up the price. Well, if I'm president, I'm going to make sure that it's still 64 ounces if they're going to raise it. And if it's less than 64 ounces, you keep it the same price."
I think everybody that is going for public office, and most of them at this point, like Kamala, Trump, they don't do any of their own shopping. I think all the people who are going for office actually need to go to the grocery store and buy some groceries to just see how much stuff costs themselves. Instead of having their butler or their nanny or whoever go out and do it, go do it yourself. Go out and see what it's really like. Go catch the bus. See what the bus is like. Go, because a lot of times they're talking about stuff they've never experienced this shit. And experienced it, and they did. They were a child when they did it. And that's the thing. That's why they're so out of touch with what the real American people are like, because they are up here and they're in their glass tower and they have everybody else doing everything. So they don't really know
the person
what they
writing the
experience.
check
Yeah.
owns one of them businesses. And guess what?
So now we fixed
that check.
we fixed the Democratic Party. So what we said is to get back to your core values, talk about uplifting Black people, or not uplifting Black people, scratch that. Uplifting the middle class and poor people. Stick with that. Stop talking about censorship and all this other stuff and misinformation, because you're the party who's doing misinformation also.
Yes.
And it's a very Orwellian thing that the people that keep saying you're doing something are the ones that are doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So stop all that noise. Get back to the basics.
Yes.
Fix this
and
country.
hire people who understand communities. You don't hire somebody to be the campaign manager in Indiana has never been set foot in Compton, LA. Have the right people, talking to the communities and so forth. They miss that. And so it's just a money grab. And I tell you,
And they become the party of corruption.
oh, they're totally a party. I mean, both sides are, but I mean, this whole politics, people the population of America is just fed up with all of it. If there was really a real riot, kind of like way back in the French day when they threw out the king and the queen, I think America could be close to, if Trump does something stupid, it can be all out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't see that. And the only reason I don't see that is
By both parties.
I don't see him doing that because I think there's just first of all, he only has 4 years. He doesn't have 8 because he already did his 4 before. So he can only do 4. I think he's surrounded by, remember, at his core, regardless of what people say, he was a Democrat most of his life. Okay. So
No doubt.
at his core, he's still probably a Democrat because he's moved the Republican Party more mainstream, and the Republican Party is not a far right party. It's almost a populist party. It's a populism,
It's the Trump party.
and but he's a populist
They
right
need
now.
to take the Republican off and just put the
So
Tea Party.
I'm gonna see. I'm all about let's wait and see what happens.
I feel sorry for you because, John Kelly and Millie. And
I
other
don't like those
generals-
guys. I don't care.
Yeah. You were loving them.
Nah.
You were loving them the last time.
Nah, I don't care about them. No, let's move on.
Oh, yeah, of course you want to
Move on. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to move on from
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
So you don't think
Hey.
these guys who work with them, chief of staff,
I don't care.
they
care.
thought they were lying?
The thing about his first, I'll tell you the funny
Because you're a
when he-
firefighter.
when
You're a firefighter.
wait, when
Hold on.
he
If the
first
captain-
ran,
if the
when,
cap-
wait,
the
when he
captain-
first ran, he ran against Hillary, right? Okay, I couldn't stand Hillary. Okay, I couldn't stand her. And then you had Trump, and then I was listening to him, and I was like, oh, this dude's crazy. But then I said, who am I going to vote for? So I think I voted, I don't know, whoever the third, I think it was Bernie Sanders or whoever the third party was, I voted for them. And then during his thing, I found him very amusing. He made me laugh, right? Like I'd watch his speeches and I just start laughing. And I was like, okay, this is why people like. So I think a lot of the times the Democrat side, like Democrats out in the world, they don't watch Fox. Like, cause me, I never watched Fox. I used to only watch MSNBC. And then as I got older, I was like, huh, what is this Fox stuff? I want to see what the other side's talking about. So I start watching Fox a little bit. And then I was like, oh, damn, there's a lot of lying going on over there. Then I go back to MSNBC. Under the Trump years, I start watching Fox. And I was like, I see why people like this dude. I could see it because they have they see him as almost being like them.
Oh,
No,
so-
no, Fox. Because he says some crazy stuff.
No.
He'll cap on somebody. If he'll say Bobby and he'll make a funny name for you. That's stuff that normal people do. That's what I'm saying. That's his appeal. His appeal is he has good slogans. Make America Great Again. That's a great slogan. Tell me it ain't.
Well, remember,
What was Thomas over? What was it?
we won't go back. We won't go back.
Well, we go back to what?
We won't go back.
To Biden or to Trump? Where are we going back
won't
to?
go back to the old Jim Crow way.
Okay, so what's better?
Jim
What's a better slogan? Make America Great Again, or we won't go back? Come on, all that marketing experience of you. Come on.
Well, there's no doubt. Make America Great Again. Or it was a winner.
It's
right?
a winner.
And it was done by a black man.
It's a winner.
A black man gave Trump that.
And as we end in our last 8 minutes here, when people say that Trump was racist, I didn't buy it, and I'll tell you why. Because remember when he was a Democrat? Oh,
No,
well,
fascist.
he's not fascist. Stop it. He's not fascist. Stop it.
Are you kidding
Nah,
me?
yeah, I'm not kidding you. What's a fascist? Give me your definition.
Adolf Hitler, Mussolini.
So Trump is that?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
How?
It's all about the European superior power and the
In what
bring
way?
that back. Oh, and to make sure that they're the global dominance. It's look,
Who? The Europeans?
everything European, everything white. There's
I
no
don't
doubt
believe-
about it.
Nah.
Hey, listen, this whole world had been built on domination by certain classes and certain
Yeah.
races. Okay.
Yeah. But
And let's face it, the white power is here to stay.
Mm.
They are very powerful.
yeah.
They have smart people. They got military,
Yeah.
and they did all that.
Yeah.
And they protected that through sacrifices, and also when they got here on the Mayflower, they did some lot of genocide.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now.
No, it's power. It's power, and they're afraid of losing that power. There is no doubt about it.
Who's afraid of losing that power?
Trump and his cronies.
So when you say that, are the Democrats also afraid of losing power? Aren't they doing the same thing?
That white power.
Okay.
It's kind of like watching Trading Places. You ever see that show?
I love that show.
Okay.
I love it.
Eddie Murphy was sitting in there, and the guys, look, the Democrats are like this at the country club with the white power structure. Look, I'll handle the Negroes, you handle the rednecks, okay? And it's similar to making sure that the people below them stay in line.
And that, in essence, is why it should be independent, because they're all full of shit, to be honest. Both sides. But one side, I don't even know if they get in a room together and they go back and forth and say, oh, it's you guys' turn. You guys go do this and that. But what I like about at least Trump winning is that it'll come back to the center, because it was way too far left. Biden was way left. He shouldn't have been as far left as he was. He was too far over here. You gotta be here.
Well, yeah, they're pandering to the.
I don't like that.
They pander too much,
And-
and people are aware of that.
And what really did he accomplish? I was trying to think of it. I was like, okay, inflation's up. All right, taxes are high. They give away the money to everybody else but Americans. They opened up the border. I was trying to figure out what were the positives of his presidential 4 years.
The Inflation Act, basically making sure the domestic chip company come back.
But they haven't brought back any of the
Infrastructure
companies.
bill, he spent a lot of money on infrastructure. He gave money
But
to
every-
the
every-
HBCUs.
Every
He
president
got a lot
does
of
that.
money to the HBCUs.
Okay.
He made really to make sure that our
Trump did
black
that-
community
Trump did
can't
that
get-
first.
No, Trump only did a little bit.
He did it first. He was
No,
the
he did
only.
not do
He
it
was the
first.
first president to give money to the
wait, Obama
HBCUs.
started it first, and when Obama lost, it was still in legislation.
Okay.
You can't just sign the money. You got to get the Congress in.
Right.
And so when he got in, it was on his desk.
Yeah.
Okay, and he signed a little bit.
Yeah.
But now there's been much more, invested.
I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm going to say that if they had a leader from another country in the room and Kamala in the room, I personally feel more comfortable with Trump in that room than Kamala.
Well, I disagree.
No.
I'll take Kamala.
No, because
any
a
day.
lot of people are scared of Trump.
Ain't nobody scared
Yeah,
of Trump.
yeah, yeah,
Ain't scared
yeah,
of him.
yeah. They're scared because they don't know what he's going to do.
Oh, like, if you have a little bit of a protest for George Floyd, maybe you might get shot.
Oh, no, I hope not.
Huh?
No,
When he told Wiley, can't you shoot him in the leg? Just go out there and shoot him.
What road bullets?
So what's going to make you wake up on Trump? Because the rallies coming, the protest is coming.
I don't
And
think
if he lets the bullets fly, would that change your mind?
you know what? I don't think they'll be shooting American citizens on television. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen.
Well, it's on record.
What
It's
is
on record. He said the
Thank
shoot.
you. Hey, come, yeah, let's stop it, Lard. Let's stop it.
It's not through Miley's line.
You and this Miley guy, fuck that guy.
I got a lot of respect for
No.
my industrial complex. I'm all about the military industrial complex
not.
and a strong
I'm not.
strong country. But at the same
I'm-
time,
I'm
I can.
For a strong country, but I'm not for a military budget that's bigger than every other country combined.
Listen,
I'm not for that. Know why? Because a lot of that money could be going to education. A lot of that money can be going to infrastructure.
We got threats from all over the place. We got threats. We got people trying to kill us.
So if we got people trying to kill us, why are you giving all this money to all these other countries then? And then take that money and then put it into here then?
Jeff, I agree.
Okay.
I mean, and also there's some accountability on a complex. There's some overpricing, a lot of accountability. and so forth. Waste.
one
A lot of
great
waste.
thing
A lot of waste.
I
A lot
saw
of waste.
Trump talk about, and he was talking about Air Force One. And he was talking to Boeing, and Boeing said, this plane is going to cost you $5 billion. And he said, no, I'm not paying $5 billion for that, and hung up the phone.
Thank you. Because Boeing was selling shitty product anyway.
Ends up getting the plane for $2 billion. And he said, does anybody ever negotiate with these guys? And they said, no, we just usually just sign whatever they ask.
Of course they do.
So
Right. The money gets recycled back to them through some lobbying.
right there and then, just think about, because when I worked for the government and we had a budget and they would say, you got to spend this money by this date. And we don't care what you spend it on. Here's a book of things you can buy. Just buy shit. Because if you don't buy it, then the next budget cycle, it'll be a lower. So you just spend money just to be spending it on shit you don't need. And that's how the government runs at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. They waste money like you fucking wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
So he said, we're going to negotiate this shit. How come nobody else talks about that? These are easy talking points. Easy talking points. So that's why we went over all from left to right to up to down, all the different ways that these Democrats have lost not only this election fully, they've lost the young people. They lost a lot of black men. They lost a lot of Latino men. They lost a lot of Asian men and women.
And young men.
And it all comes down to not getting into their core values, which are family values, which are uplifting the middle and lower middle class and poor people. And they became a party of the rich, wealthy white people. That's what that's what happened.
You smashed it. I don't even know how to follow up on that.
What's up? What's up? What's up?